All right, what is going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to another episode of Talking Buffalo, your weekday daily driver for Buffalo Sports Talk and more. My name is Patrick Moran. Thank you to everyone out there, as always, for watching, for listening. Appreciate you all very much. On the video side, we're actually live air Sunday night, 9 p.m. as usual. Big shout out to today's sponsor, Sunny Reds, 1841 Aber Road, just down the way from Highmark Stadium. As usual for these shows, I'm joined by my buddy Joe from Queens. Let me say this right off the bat for everybody who's watching on the video side. A little bit nervous because we are like literally for the first time ever using a brand new platform. I kind of don't know what's going on right now with some video scenes and switching comments from the YouTube. I can actually start to see those populate already, so that's good. We'll see what happens. This platform is much better than the one we've used before. It just might take a little bit for me to kind of get used to how to use everything. But anyway, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Good, man. Just it's like getting a new pair of boxers. You're just trying to adjust to the new video settings. Like, oh, okay, that's it.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
just adjusting to them. So new boxers. These are new boxers for us over here. We're going from tighty whities to briefs. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I see a couple of, like I said, the regulars, Tooch,
Tooch.
Ryan in the chat populated. All right, so we know what we're doing here. It's just like I said, they kind of take a while to pop up, though. Everything's going to be a little bit different until we get used to it. But what's going on, everybody? Live in the video chat, of course, people listening to this podcast sometime on Monday. Going to get to plenty of stuff today. We're going to talk about Jordan Poyer. He had some very interesting comments. I'm going to play a clip, and I want to get some thoughts from you on that. We're going to talk about some Bills Darkhorse trade candidates, some guys who could end up getting traded, a guy or two possibly before the season starts. We'll hit on some of those. We got our regular segments that we like to do, our Mount Flushmore true and false segments, but we're actually going to flip it around. This time I'm going to do true and false. You're going to provide the Mount Flushmore. Like I said, Jordan Poyer stuff. New York Knicks, you're in New York City right now in Queens. That's just pretty wild, man, what's going on. With that, before anything else, we got to give your wife some shine here on the show. I hear what's going on, man. Tell us about it.
I like how you do shine. So if everyone are regulars and maybe we have new people, who the hell knows?
Mhm.
If you guys remember, I think last season I kind of just was begging, kind of pleading. I'm like, I really want to go to either a Bills home opener or I want to go to a Bills playoff game. And I was kind of putting the pressure on the missus to
Mhm.
make this happen. And it finally is going to happen. I am going to the Bills Ravens opener and I am stoked. It's the last opener at the old stadium and I already booked my flight in and I cannot wait. But she got it for me. She rules the world. She is the queen. So shout out to her. Shout out to the queen. I don't know where she is. I don't think she's. I think she's already in bed. Who the hell knows? But yes. So I'm very excited to go. I will say this though. I am 0-4 in my last Bills games I've gone to since
Really?
since the end of 2019. I actually went to a Baltimore. I went to that Baltimore Bills game in 2019 when it was like Josh Allen's second year and Lamar won the MVP and they lost. I forgot how like Josh didn't play well, and I went to that game. I went to the terrible game in Miami when Tua got concussed, but he played anyway. And I went to the Jets game where where Josh was terrible and Zach Wilson somehow won. And then I'm missing the Colts game, my bachelor party in 2021 where they got obliterated. And it was like the
Oh,
worst game in
Jonathan
history.
Taylor like 4 touchdowns or something.
Yeah, Fred Taylor like ruined like my entire bachelor party. It was awful. So yeah, but I'm very excited about it. I can't wait. So I won't be on that show for you, unless you want to, you should be creative. For that opener, I know you won't do it because you've already said I'm not even the host. You should do a podcast from the stadium afterwards, and I'll come walking to you like right afterwards. Like you can go hang out with Pinto Ron. There's got to be some RV guy you can go out to, or get Sunny Red stuff, like rent a Winnebago or something, and you can like be in the back, like and like and we can just go right in the house, right in the van or something like that. If you want me on the opening match, because I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be in
Opening
traffic.
match? This ain't
The
soccer.
opening match, soccer, whatever. Yeah, opening game. But I'm excited. So
So you
shout out.
hold on. So you were at that Miami game when Tua got hurt, but he played anyway, and when it was like a gazillion degrees out that game?
Yeah, yeah, we had really
Okay.
good seats that my wife was able to get from her friend, and yeah, that was a terrible game, and just yeah. So I've been to some bad like Josh Allen games because he didn't play great in that game. I mean, he had like 400 yards, but it was sloppy, and
Yeah.
that was when Ken Dorsey like had his tantrum and like blasted the
Didn't
freaking
Isaiah
best.
didn't Isaiah McKenzie screw up near the end of the game or something? Like, he didn't get
Yeah,
out
he
of bounds or
fell. Like he fell. Yeah, he didn't go out of bounds, and then the one punter like kicked for the Dolphins. Like there was the safety because he kicked the guy's ass when he was punting
something.
it or whatever. And yeah, and then the Dolphin, the Jets game that was terrible. That was the same season. Was it the same season? I'm trying to remember. It might have been the same season, and that was when Zach like Josh Allen like he threw a pick in like the first 20 seconds of the game when they after like someone else had a fumble or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like a terrible game. That's when Josh like messed up his elbow a little bit in that game, if you remember, and it was kind of like
Mhm.
is his
Yeah.
elbow bothering him for the rest of the year? And there was rumors on the internet that he was going to be out for the year, and that never happened, which was funny. But yeah, so I'm kind of a curse. So I'm hoping that
I was
curse
gonna say,
ends.
I'm gonna put it out there that I'm gonna put you on, put your feet to the fire a little bit, let people know that the Bills are 0-4 the last 4 games that you've attended.
Yeah, but it's gonna be fun, and I'm happy to go to
Oh, that is cool, man. It is cool.
yeah,
It's
and
always cool.
I'm gonna get there the day before, so Saturday morning I'm gonna get there. I definitely attend on. I don't know. If there's I don't know what the hell it. I haven't been back for an opener since I was at the opener in 2019, the home opener with the Bengals. If you remember that game, that was when Dawson Knox killed someone, and he entered the
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
Colleen
yeah.
Hall of Fame when he killed that one Bengals guy.
Colleen Hall of Fame.
Shout out to
Colleen,
Colleen. She's in
shout
there.
out,
That's why I'm
shout
giving.
out. We've already threw up the comment on the video.
Yeah, shout out to her. But like, yeah, that was the game they won, and but I didn't really like. I'm looking forward to this to party a little bit, and I'm sure there'll be some parties the day before. I don't know, like see what happens.
Live talk in Buffalo,
Yeah,
Saturday
if you,
night.
I'm telling you, we could do a live show. I'm telling you, the thing you need to do, you and the content bros, the ones that I mean, I don't like any of them except Podfather Marino. But like but like the ones you negotiate with them, you're the promoter, but like get them all into one under one roof, and we all just do like a little bit of a round table, and we all. I'm sure you guys will all circle jerk, and I'll just be like, "You're all losers." But other than that, like we
Well,
should do something somewhere, and
I'll tell you this, man, because it's been, like you said, it's been 2019 since you've been to Buffalo for a home opener,
mhm.
season opener and a home opener, obviously in week 1. I will say this, the last couple of years since I moved back from Florida, opening weekend in Western New York has been awesome. Like, there's so many rallies going on, so many parties. There's just a lot of really cool shit going on, opening week. So that'll be cool that you'll be back for that. But for now, you are in New York City. And before we dive into some Bills content, which we're going to any minute, folks, I do got to ask you because I'm a big New York Knicks fan. Okay, I would
Mhm.
say they're not on the same level as the Bills. For me, growing up, it was always Bills, Sabres, and then the next level would be Yankees, and then like Notre Dame and New York Knicks. The Knicks beat the Boston Celtics in 6 games, and that is awesome. And minus one Pacers fan getting jumped. That video's been all over the place. Minus that one thing though, the excitement in New York City, the crowds, the craziness that you would expect in New York City. It's just been so freaking cool to watch. The city is absolutely on fire right now, New York City. You were out for that game, weren't you? Like, so you were
Yeah.
out for game 6. I saw you had an Instagram post, you and a buddy were at a bar. What's the vibe like right now in New York City? Again, we talk about the Bills, the Sabres has been, especially with the Sabres, it's been a long time since, they've been in contention like that. But what's the vibe like in New York City because of the Knicks right now?
It's hot. I mean, it's electric right now, and I'm sure you've seen the YouTube videos like by the arena, like there were
Yeah.
people outside, like it looked like it was chaos. By me in Queens, like all the sports bars were packed. Like there's this one bar across the street. We didn't go to it, but it's called Rivercrest. It's a great bar. It's awesome sports bar. It's one of those bars where like the windows open up, so it's kind of like a patio like esque,
Mhm.
and like there were people like on the sidewalk watching the game on the sidewalk because there was no room inside. So they were like literally watching it, and we kind of got there a little bit late, like just a couple minutes. But I saw, like, when we were going to the other bar, I saw people cheering while outside watching the TV, like on the sidewalk. So the bar that we went to was pretty. It wasn't super packed, like, but there was enough. There was like a lot of people there, but it wasn't like room to shoulder to shoulder. But people are electric. They're rooting it on, and they're hungry. And I've been here 23 years, and
Mhm.
it's I came at the tail end of the Yankees like dominance. And and I feel like New York kind of is over the Yankees a little bit in a way. Like, they still have their fans, but it's kind of like people remember their championships, and it's not.
Sure.
I don't know. The vibe doesn't feel the same. Whereas I think the longer you've gone losing in this town, and then you're good, it's just electric. Like, even the Mets last year, it was electric
25
last year.
years, bro. It's been 25 years since the Knicks have been to a
Yeah,
conference final. It was in
but
2000, and they lost
yeah,
to Indiana and back in 2000. So, yeah, to your
yeah.
point, it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been, but going back to the Mets, like last year, it was electric here because the Mets have always been like, they haven't been very good, and they haven't won a title since the '80s, and the Knicks haven't won a title since the '70s. But I think
Mhm.
that's what happens. Like, when you've been lost for a while, and you're kind of like dormant, and then all of a sudden you wake up, it becomes more electric here than if the Giants were to do something, like if the Giants got good. It registers. You get your little parade, but it's not as big. But I think with the Knicks, there's way more Knicks fans. Like, you have like the Giants and Jets kind of compete against each other, and then you have baseball, Mets, Yankees. Like, Yankees are probably a little bit bigger, but like they're not as, like, I don't know, diehard, I guess, as of right now.
Right,
But there's no Nets fans really. There's some people in Brooklyn like the Nets, but like it's there. Like, no one. But it is like a Knicks town, like, by far. So of all the sports, the Rangers are still popular over the Islanders, but the Islanders got their Long Island crew.
right.
Whereas the Knicks, they're basketball, like MSG, the Mecca. But yeah, people are electric right now. Like, I'm excited too. Like, look, I'm not a huge Knicks fan. Like, I have, like, I like them and I like the Mets. They're like the only New York teams that I'll genuinely root for. I'm not watching every game or anything like that, but I'm definitely, when it's playoff time and it's like, okay, I'll jump on that bandwagon. But for those two teams, the other ones I don't care. Like, I don't care about the Yankees or the football teams or anyone that the hockey teams I don't give a shit about. But yeah, it is electric here, and yeah, people are. It was busy as hell. I mean, this is Queens, so like in terms of like I'm off Ditmars, like a regular street, and all those streets that have bars on. It's I can't wait for Wednesday. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, so like I said, their first conference final since 2000. The Knicks have not won an NBA title since 1973. One cool thing about the NBA right now is either the Knicks are going to win for the first time in 52 years, or Indiana, Minnesota, or Oklahoma City. One of them are going to win their first ever title. So it's not just more of the same with the NBA. But when you see like the Knicks going on, we can kind of tie it into Buffalo sports a little bit. I don't want to say so much the Bills because I mean the Bills have been in two AFC championship games since 2020. So they've come close the last couple of years. So you kind of know what it's like, in Buffalo to be close, so close that you could taste it. Sabres, though, it kind of just has me imagining now if one of these teams, like just watching New York party, because I will say this, and again, it's New York City. New York City's freaking crazy. Been more than 2 decades. I get it. It's fun. I wish I was there. I would have been joining in the madness. But I just I picture Buffalo if the Sabres or especially the Bills win a championship, dude. Like the city's gonna burn to the ground. I mean that in a good way. I don't think the city's gonna, be a metaphorical about it, not
Yeah.
physically burn
Well,
to the ground. But oh my God, just the vibes for the Bills or the Sabres ever win one, what this city would turn into would just be incredible.
yeah, and you make a good point with the Knicks. Like, the Knicks are like a little bit equivalent to the Sabres. Like, they had an owner, and he's still there, that everyone in New York despised.
Yep.
Everyone, and all the hockey fans hate Pagula, and like he was meddlesome, whatever you want to call it, and just a stockpile of embarrassments where for signings, etc. And now that they're good, and I think it matters more when you have that thirst to be great. You tend to just want to jump out and jump on that bandwagon, I guess, when you've been bad for a while. What would you say? You're the mayor of South Buffalo, I like to think, or West Seneca, where the hell you live. what's the vibe in terms of do fans want the Knicks or they want the Pacers? Do they want like the underdog? Like because Indiana's a small market, like they're kind of
Sure.
a little bit like I don't want to say Buffalo, but like they're a smaller city, they're a bigger city than Buffalo, but they're not like a mecca. Whereas is there in New York like I always tend to think Buffalo people hate New Yorkers and we kind of don't like Buffalonians either, or at least no, those not me, but like here, kind of looking down at upstate, like downstate or the fuck,
Uh,
downstate, whatever.
well, unlike Big Papa Bill in the live chat, who is clearly a Knicks hater, I don't think people care that much for the most part, but the people who do care, like I am seeing New York Knicks hoodies and hats kind of coming out of the woodwork, like you didn't see it a month or so ago, but now
Mm-hmm.
they're in a playoff run, so you're kind of seeing fans emerge. I will say this, so I have not seen an Indiana Pacers fan anywhere in Buffalo, so I think that predominantly people, if they care, which is probably not all that many, I say they're rooting for the Knicks, at this point. It's gonna be a good series. Indiana's tough. They
Yeah, I
play
mean they played each other last year, and
Yep,
the Pacers won in 7, and that's when the Knicks got banged up at the end, and
yep,
everyone was getting
yep,
hurt,
yep, yep,
and now
yep,
they're healthy. So
yep.
yeah, I think having a T Wolves Knicks finals would be awesome because of that big trade that they had with Randall and
Yeah, and
Towns. Like that's
with
gonna be
Towns,
that's gonna be epic. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm hoping they win. I'm hoping they win. Obviously it'll be hilarious and fun.
let's get into some and trust me, I am too. I am very much looking forward to that series. It's been quite a while. I think with the Knicks, it's because I didn't expect them to beat Boston. Like, I was talking about this with a good buddy of mine. They got murdered against Boston, Cleveland, all these good teams this year. They only didn't not only did they not win, they weren't even competitive most of the time. So when they played Detroit in the first round and they won, I wasn't even all that excited because I'm like, well, Boston, their ceiling is reached. Boston's going to smack them. But pleasantly, that has not been the case. Anyway, let's switch gears here. We'll get into some Bills stuff. Time of year, you brought this topic up. I thought it was an interesting one. I want to talk about some dark horse Bills trade candidates before the season starts. And in this case, we're talking more about the Bills trading a player, maybe for probably a pick. I mean, of course, it's possible the Bills could trade for a player, but in this scenario, anyway, we're talking about a couple veterans that are on this roster right now that realistically, feasibly could be traded for a few reasons, and we'll talk about them. You got one guy specifically, I got one guy specifically that I want us to talk about, and then I got a couple other guys that I'll throw out there as possibilities, but maybe a little bit lesser possibilities. But I'll let you start first. Who's your guy? Again, a dark horse guy that maybe people aren't talking about in terms of Brandon being traded away, but something that could be feasible. Who do you got?
Well, when I came up with this topic, I wasn't exactly I was at the zoo because I'm not supposed to peel back the curtain that much, but I was at the zoo when I pitched this topic, and I didn't look it up. So I thought maybe Curtis Samuel would be a
Yeah,
dark horse candidate, but I don't know what his cap ramifications is.
I
Like
do.
if
I'm about to drop it on you right
okay,
now.
okay, because let me know because I obviously if it ends up being like they trade and they get a ton of dead cap, I don't know that's going to happen then.
Sure.
But I can just if we take the cap out of the situation, they seem to have a bunch of Curtis Samuels on this team a little bit. When I say that, I'm saying like a bunch of like 2 to 3. The number 2, 3 wide receiver where they should be your third best option on a regular goodish team. I mean, Shakir's good, obviously. He's the alpha male. We'll just call him. Well, everyone else we don't know what the heck they are. To be honest with you, and I could see him being a higher price salary, a veteran. I don't know. I wasn't impressed with him last year. I know you have him on the comeback player of the year train over here.
I don't know
Uh,
about all that.
well, I know I'm just exaggerating. Well, you like, oh, he did well at the end of the last season. I'm like, dude, he had like a touchdown and like 2 catches in one game. Like that's great. I mean, but I could see that being a guy who they could trade for. I mean, he's a little bit long in the tooth, and if there's one thing you can say is they've gotten a little bit younger at wide receiver. With their
Mhm.
free agent acquisitions, and he's kind of like the older dude that's in that room right now. So I could see him being a guy that they could trade for.
Well, when it comes to money, I'll say this. Let's just assume, for the sake of discussion, just for entertainment purposes here, that you're right, and maybe Brandon Beane decides he wants to move Curtis Samuel. I see it making sense. It's not something that's illogical. Like trading Matt Milano, that's just not logical. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Trading Curtis Samuel does feel logical. Financially, I looked it up. If the Bills were to trade him, obviously after June 1st, the dead cap money, $1.7 million of dead cap they would eat for each of the next 3 seasons. The cap savings, 7.3 million this year, 8 million next year. That's a lot. Like,
Hmm.
if you're looking for money for, like, if the Bills are pinched right now and they are looking for money, that is a financially logical move for the Bills to
Hmm.
get rid of Curtis Samuel. Let's say they get to camp and, Elijah Moore and Curtis Samuel are kind of one and the same. A lot of people might think they're the same type of player. Elijah Moore looks better. He's got a cheaper
Hmm.
contract, and maybe a receiver goes down somewhere in Pittsburgh or somebody. I'm just throwing a team out there. They want to trade. Financially, it would be smart for the Bills to
Hmm.
trade Curtis Samuel if it came down to Elijah Moore outperforming him, and you don't want to have 2 of the same type players. I know you're being kind of a smart ass, but when it came to Curtis Samuel, I do think he played better near the end of the season. He was a waste, and he was also injured. The foot was an issue for, I'd say, a big chunk of the year, but he had 8 catches in the playoffs. 2 of them were touchdowns. He had that big touchdown against Denver, that long touchdown, and he had a good game when the Bills beat Kansas City in Orchard Park in November. He had 5 catches for 58 yards and
Yeah,
and a
I mean, look, I get like he was a dead snail and he showed signs of life at the end, but I don't know. I didn't really see it, and I don't want to hear about the system because he coached with Brady. But the toe, sure. I mean, I guess if that's a big thing, I mean, he hasn't said anything that. I mean, look, when someone has a bad year, then then the Bills and the Bills like you, they'll come up with like different. Oh, well, the toe was bad and all this shit, and it's like, okay,
Mhm.
well, I don't know. All right, the toe was bad, I guess, but that's the guy I would say offensive. Who you got there as
I got
your?
I got somebody as well. And by the way, a quick update because a couple people were chiming in the live chat. The Bandits are playing right now, game 2 of the NLL championship, and it's tied at halftime. From what I've seen, I've been following online. They kind of been outplayed, but they've still managed to they're tied 6-6. So we'll see if the Bandits can put together a second half here and win their 3rd consecutive championship. I think Curtis Samuel's actually a really good one just because it would make a lot of sense. Now, to be clear, I don't predict that the Bills are going to trade anybody, but we're
Hmm.
just, throwing some, again,
It's
feasible.
May. It's boring time, guys. Like we're
Yeah,
we're
it
we're
is.
we're, we're just we're gonna like draft,
And you bitched at me
foods.
already about us not talking about the same things. You said, "What do you just
Mhm.
want to play the hits?" That's pretty much. I think I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but you accused me of just wanting to play the hits there on Talking Buffalo.
Sure.
My guy is AJ Epinesa. I could see that on the defensive side of the football. They just drafted Landon Jackson in the 3rd round. I kind of feel like Landon Jackson is the same type of player as AJ Epinesa. I think at this point, you know who AJ Epinesa is. He is what he is. He's a guy who's literally gotten you like 6 to 6.5 sacks pretty much every year since he's been in the league. You want to give Landon Jackson more opportunities because Greg Rizzo, Joey Bosa, Michael Hoyt will be back after 6 games. You want Landon Jackson in your top 4. You don't have room for him to be in your
Yeah.
top 4 as things stand if everybody stays healthy. So I can see AJ Epinesa being at least a possibility to go over the financial parameters of trading him if they were to trade him again after June 1st. 1.287 million in dead cap money for each of the next 3 years. Savings would be 6.2 million this year, which is a lot. 1.574 million in 2027. That's a void year. This is the last year of his contract right now. So again, I think you got to ask yourself because it always takes 2 to tangle. So let me ask you this.
Mm.
Curtis Samuel and AJ Epinesa, do you see if Brandon Beane was looking to either free up some money or free up an opportunity for Elijah Moore or free up a better opportunity right off the bat for Landon Jackson and he wanted to trade one of those guys, do you think there would be a market around the league for teams to be interested in a Curtis Samuel or a AJ Epinesa?
I could see AJ being someone that a team would want because he's younger. Defensive linemen are harder to get. Uh, and he had an okay season. I mean, he had the typical AJ Epinesa season, while
Mhm.
as Curtis Samuel had a down season, and he's getting up there in age. I think there's a little bit more to that to AJ. I think for Curtis, it would have to be a team that he worked with the offensive coordinator before, and the guy he did the most stuff is here. For the most part, that would
Mhm.
have to be someone there. Let me ask you this about AJ Epinesa. In the chat, I would love your feedback if you want to say yes or no. The question I have is AJ It's to you. Is AJ Epinesa a bust? Would you say
No.
he's a bust? No,
Nope. Nope. He's
no.
second round pick. He's been steady, not spectacular. I think if you get a guy on day 2 who's giving you 6 to 6.5 sacks every season, I'd say he's steady. He's nothing special. He has had moments, he has flashed. I don't think he's been awful. I think like Boogie Basham's a second round pick. That was clearly a bust. I don't think
Sure.
AJ Epinesa has been a bust. I think
How
he's
about
been
disappointment?
fine.
Would you say he's a disappointment? Because let me ask you this: Would you take the AJ
But
Epinesas of in the second round for the next 5 years? So whoever they drafted in the second round, he's going to be what AJ Epinesa is, like a role
that's what they just
guy.
did. I think they did that this year with Landon Jackson. I think that's big guy, tall guy, um, kinda sorta the same player, sort of, production that Landon Jackson had in college, kind of equivalent to what AJ Epenesa's done with the Bills.
See, I'll say this: one guy in your chat, if you want to bring him up, RJ Melville said a second round pick.
Oh, I got a different
Yeah,
comment from him, but
yeah.
anyway.
Okay, yeah. The thing he said was if you're a second round pick, you should be a starter, and him being a
Kinda is,
semi
though.
starter.
He's kind of a starter. He sort of is, like, what Von Miller didn't start last year.
Everyone's a starter then. Everyone's a
Right.
starter
You're right.
then.
And well, and
Because
no one I would say no one is. Ed Oliver
yeah,
and
and
Greg
Rousseau
Rousseau are
maybe.
starters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be it. But Big Papa Bill in the live chat on the video side thinks that, we could get a 3rd round pick for
No,
AJ
that's
Brown. No way.
no, buddy.
That's one of those I feel like
He's like a fifth and
he's
conditional.
you get a 5th and you give up AJ in a 6th and you'll get a 5th. That's the kind of window I could see
So how
for
do
him.
you say if you're trading him for a fifth or sixth, how can you say he's not a bust or a disappointment?
Because well, I don't know. I mean, it's a good question. It's just the way it is in the NFL now.
Yeah,
They draft younger, cheaper. Here's the thing though. The Bills at this point, their roster is set. Okay. If we would have been talking about this in February or March, I would have been like, yo, we could open up some cap room and you could go get Trey Hendrickson or you could go get Chris Olave. I think those ships have sailed for this season. So it's like I'm not against opening up more cap room, but I don't know that that would be a driving force now like it would have been 2 months ago, something
Mhm.
like that. Again, I don't expect any trades with the Bills right now. We know how important depth is with the Buffalo Bills, and the Bills have had great depth during this run, this Brandon Beane, Sean McDermott run.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
think. When was the last time they had? I mean, they've obviously done deadline deals. Have they? When was the last time they did? I should have looked this up. Like, have they done August trades and they've traded guys?
I
I'm
know.
trying to.
Well, they usually trade away players, like, and they get a pick for it. Like I said, like Boogie
Yeah,
Basham, White Teller. There's God, I know there's a couple guys. Maybe help out in the chat if you're
yeah. If
watching
anyone
this.
remembers, we're not
I
talking
know they've had a
deadline. We're
couple
talking
small
like
trades. Like they got something for a guy that they were probably going to end up cutting. Anyway.
there. Remember Russell Bodine? Remember him? They traded him. That shitty offensive lineman. They traded him to the Patriots for like a fifth rounder. Modine or Bodine, I forgot his name. Do you remember that guy?
Yeah, yeah, he
Yeah,
was
they
center
traded
for
him.
1 year. He was awful.
Yeah,
Um, Cowboys, Lions, and or teams that need AJ Epenesa, Big Papa Bill says. So yeah, man, I don't know. I don't think he's a bust though. I just don't. I think he's been a solid contributing player. You want to get good, really good starters in the second round. I get that. Maybe mildly, I would say mildly disappointing. Like if you were
mm.
gonna have a report card grade for AJ Epinesa all these years later, to me,
C.
yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say he's a C. He's
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
fine. There's a
Yeah, I
couple other
mean,
guys too I wanted to
yeah,
mention.
yeah.
Let me mention them just quickly here. Again, maybe lesser possibilities, but not impossible by any means. Mitch Trubisky, I could see that. If
To
Mike
where? The Rocks League? Where's he going?
well, if Mike White say he beats out the let's just say Mike White beats out Mitch Trubisky at camp this summer, okay? And he wins the number 2 job. It could be one of those situations where you try to trade Mitch, and if you can't trade him, then you end up cutting him. But maybe there might be a team out there who's got really shitty. I mean, you could do worse at QB2 than Mitch Trubisky. Maybe a QB gets hurt on another team at camp, the backup quarterback, something like that, or they're not getting anything good from their QB2, and maybe they could get a very late round pick for Mitch Trubisky. Again, if Mike White were to beat him out, it makes great financial sense because you're only eating $750K of dead cap, and you're going to be saving $2.5 million. So I would say Mitch Trubisky's a possibility. I got 3 here. Starting guard, if you want to trade a starter, David Edwards could be a possibility. And you're like, huh? Why would you want to do that? I'm not saying you would, but let's just say
He's a
Alec
free agent.
Anderson, he's going to be a free agent after this year. You really like the way Alec Anderson is developing. Let's just say he's improved from last year. And last year he improved a lot from the year before that. Let's just say he goes to camp and he looks really good this summer. Or maybe that rookie from last year, Tylen Grable, who they got late in the draft. But probably Alec Anderson. He's more than just that 6 offensive lineman. You're like, you know what? I could see him as my starter right now. Then you turn around, you trade David Edwards, who's a steady starter. 875 cap or dead cap money. That's not a lot. And you would save $4 million this year. The last guy, and admittedly, this would be incredibly premature to do this, but the Bills did draft 2 defensive tackles. They did sign Larry Ogunjobi. Let's just say Dwayne Carter looks shitty in camp. The rookie, the 3rd round pick from last year. I was not impressed with him last year. Is he a 3 tech? Is he a 1 tech? All this shit going on. Let's just say he doesn't look good at camp, and you want to get something for him. You could have the mindset with him of let's get something for him now while we still can, because if you wait another year, you're probably just going to end up cutting him. Admittedly, this is the one I'm reaching for the most, but you can, again, the minimal dead cap money, and you could save about $1 million or so this year and next year, a little bit more than that as well. So
Sure.
I could see that, but it's kind of like the rationale I have with those guys. It's possible. No, that's likely.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat. Again, I'm on a brand new platform. This is I like the format of this a lot better, but it takes longer to load the comments. It's taking longer to receive them on the live side anyway. But anyway,
Well,
yeah.
we can always read it. Big Papa Hill, excuse me, wants Stephon Gilmore. There you go. You go read. You can read it there, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants Stephon Gilmore to come back.
No.
No.
It's not.
I liked him. Hey, I would have took him. Like I would have kicked the tires maybe before Trey White got here. But so Bills fans can yell at him and be like, "You were mean to us when you got drafted," and still score. Throw peanuts at him when he comes on the field.
Let's take on the video side a 5-second break. Come back. I want to hit on Jordan Poyer. Some interesting comments that he had on NFL Network this last week, and a couple other things as well. So we'll literally be right back. All right, I'm back here with Joe from Queens. You know what I've figured out that I got to find a way to do for us when we're doing these live streams? There's got to be a way on this new platform where if you see a comment, you could throw it just, like we're reading them, and we can read them out too. We don't have to necessarily put them up on the screen, but where you would have the ability as the producer.
Yeah, because you can't do anything. You can't multi.
All this shit going on because I'm still worried. I know. Going to crash again. We're live on different destinations. I've never had this show live on the Talking Buffalo Facebook page before. If I did it right, we're actually live on Instagram too right now. I actually don't know that for sure, but
I'll go check if you want. You know what? I'm also, I was very tired. Like, not, me. I hate. I'm tired, man. You got a kid. I got a kid, and I was up at I think 6. Let me throw this in, and then we'll get the Jordan Poyer thing. So I don't know if your wife has this sort of an issue. Like my wife hates water bugs. You know what those are, right? Like the water bugs, like kind of roach. They're like roaches, kind of, and they're like water bugs. They're ugly. I wish I could show a picture. I mean, someone in the chat should show a picture. Anyways, like we've had a couple of them in the house, and our great cat has killed them. But last night, my wife woke me up at like 2 a.m. to go, Baxter's going after a roach again. I'm like, what? And then I couldn't. And I did. He did. We solved this roach water bug, and I was me and her were basically. I couldn't fall back to sleep, and she couldn't fall back to sleep. And it's a stupid bug. Like it's like harmless. But anyways, so I'm
I don't know.
tired.
I don't even know if I've even heard of that before.
It's like a water bug. It's they're like brown. Like you could call them a roach, but it's mostly a water bug. They're like brown and ugly. And I wish I can. You should bring it up on the. Someone should bring it up on the shadow if we could. They're just ugly. They're like brown and they kind of like creep on you, and then they're hard to kill. You know, because you're like trying to kill it. It's a water bug. It's like here it is. Hold on, I'm going to show you the picture. That's what it is. You see, that's a water bug. Yeah, it's a water bug. Yeah, they're like disgusting, and they're just yeah. There it is again. Like that's a water bug. We get these in New York. So
Mm.
yeah, so we've had a couple of them. My wife is petrified of
Ranger
them, and
says you
like
flick them.
you flick them. Yeah, no, dude, you need to like stomp them with a sneaker. These fucking things. So anyway, so that's why I'm tired, and because I was tired, I didn't go get a beer, which I feel really stupid about.
Yeah, dude, what's up with that, man? People don't like that shit.
I know. Well, I just didn't. I didn't get it. I was gonna go and get one possibly, but I feel like I'm not gonna finish it by the time. I only have 16 ounces. I don't have like a 12-ounce can.
That's fair enough.
So,
All right,
anyways,
I want to play. So Jordan Poyer kind of, I don't know that he necessarily made news, but it was certainly talked about in Buffalo. Last week he was on NFL Network. Mitch Morse was a guest anchor on their show, and he came on there. He said that returning to Buffalo and retiring a Buffalo Bill would be a fantasy ending to his career. He talked a lot of shit about Miami, actually. He said last year was an extremely tough year on so many levels, said that their team wasn't really good. And he also talked about his lung injury, and a lot of people, you remember that if you're a Bills fan. He punctured a lung, he couldn't fly, and he drove all the way to Kansas City with his family so he could play in that game, and then drove back. Said straight up that he would not have done that last year for Miami. I mean, he literally said that. I want to pull up if I can find it here. There it is, the clip. So this is the clip. This is actually Jordan Poyer, what he said, and we'll play that, and then we'll get some reaction after this.
I really wanted to play in this game. First of all, I wanted to get back against the Chiefs, and it was in Kansas City. And I went home, spoke to my wife, and she was like, "Well, looks like we're taking a road trip to Kansas City." So we got an RV. It took us 2.5 days to get up there. We stopped in Indianapolis on a Friday night and met up with the team Saturday. I stayed with the team Saturday night before the game, played the game Sunday, and my RV was in the tunnel next to the buses after the game. And I just hopped in the RV and hopped back home. But I mean, it was just, I look back and, in the moment, it was kind of crazy. Like, what are we doing? But I look back and it was, it was for guys like you, bro. Like, to be honest, I would have never done that in Miami last year. If that was the case, I would never have done that. But for guys like you, bro, for guys like the guys that I was playing for, bro, that was you guys were my guys, bro, and I really wanted.
So yeah, man. I mean, you heard it. He pretty much said, and he threw some shade in Miami a couple times. It's kind of an unwritten rule that you really don't say your team ain't good, even if they're not. You just don't say that, and he did. And I'm not trying to stir up any controversy here. I mean, he said what he said. He would not have done that with and I believe him too. I want to talk about Miami in a second. Let's talk about Jordan Poyer first. Him saying that he would love in a dream world, a fantasy world, to come back and retire a Buffalo Bill. So let me start by asking you this. Is that realistic right now? If he's not retiring and he's going to play, is it realistic for Jordan Poyer to come back and join the Buffalo Bills? Would the Buffalo Bills have any interest in Jordan Poyer right now at this point?
I mean, they could give him the Micah Hyde thing, where it's like, we're going to sign you to the practice squad. You'll be a coach midway through the season, and then you retire as a Bill. I could see that happening. But in terms of signing him, I don't think so. I mean, we saw this last year with when he was with Miami. Like, he was done. And like we talked about it a couple of times. You mentioned it a ton of times. Like, he just looks done. And you watched him and up close more than I did down there. But anytime we saw him, he just wasn't the same guy. So yeah, you look, if they want to sign him and give him the Micah Hyde practice squad like treatment, cool. Do I want him on the field? No. No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Silvano, she in the comments says Poyer's cooked a one-day contract to retire a bill, but there is no room for him as a player. That's a good take. I'll say, look, I like Jordan Poyer. I really do, but let's just call it what it is. He was cheeks. That's the word people use now. He was cheeks. He was ass cheeks. Ass. He sucked.
Oh, okay, guy.
He was terrible with Miami last year. And I'm friends with some Miami fans, and they were like, what the hell? This dude sucked, man. He was old. He was slow. He cost his team. He's the reason why friendly fire, kind of like it happened a couple times with Teron Johnson, with Taylor Rapp was hurting his own guys. Kind of like that with Poyer. He got I believe it was Phillips. He got hurt. He might have cost Miami that Buffalo game. That late hit on Keon Coleman set up the game-winning field goal for Tyler Bass. Ryan in the live chat said Joe from Queens is cooked.
Yep, I'm definitely cooked. I'm tired as hell, Ryan.
Yeah, look, dude, man, there's no room on this roster. And put it this way, if Jordan Poyer were to sign, and if he were to beat out Damar Hamlin or Derek Forrest to make this football team, that would be an indictment against either of those guys at this point. And I know how much you love and value special teams and how critical and important that is to Joe from Queens. But
oh yeah, I saw your little tease when you were like, you thought it was stupid for people not to value the special teams, and I was like, oh, you're talking to shit about me when I'm not on the podcast. I saw your little tease on X, Pat, when you said that. So I saw that.
Yeah.
Special
teams is important. Here's my point.
Oh,
Jordan
yeah,
Poyer would have no special teams value. Look, if he's willing to join the practice squad and he can finish his career out being around the organization, kind of like Micah Hyde was, maybe be a little bit of a mentor to Cole Bishop, maybe Derek Forrest this year, I suppose I could see that, but I kind of feel like that is quite literally the only way you could have Jordan Poyer back.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I'll play devil's advocate. Like if I was Jordan Poyer's agent and I was trying to sell the Bills on Poyer, I would say, look, in 2022, he was an all-pro. That's not too long ago. And then the next year, he wasn't as good. He still made some plays, but like he wasn't as good. And then he went to Miami, which had a completely different system. And I don't know what the system is they do in Miami. It could be a completely different system than what they have here. The system sucked. Blah, 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 bring him back and he can be the backup. Like, that's the only way, if I'm Drew Rosenhaus, I'm selling Jordan Poyer to them. Like, you're only 2 years removed. You can get him cheap. He knows the system. He wants to come back. Obviously, it didn't end badly. Like, they seem to like, and they could just say, like, hey, he has the Jordan Phillips gene, where anywhere else, Jordan Phillips is terrible. But, like, here, Jordan Phillips, like, gets better for somehow. Maybe he has that sort of gene towards the end, you know what I mean? And that's kind of how I would sell him coming back. Do I want him to come back? No. Even though they're thin at safety and there's question marks there, and it might be the, if you're gonna ask me like what's the thinnest depth they have, where I'm not super thrilled, I would say safety's up there, with Rapp and Hamlin, and I don't know anything about Cole Bishop except his name is Cole.
Second round pick. You better know a lot more about him this coming season.
Well, we don't know anything outside of. I'm sure. Yeah, like you're watching the fucking film in Utah, where the fuck he came from. Like we don't know anything about him, so it's an unknown. So it's a thin position. I'm not exactly thrilled with it. I mean, they got by last year, but it wasn't great. So that's a position like I would be the most worried about. You tell me I'm wrong. You hate Hamlin. You want to fight Hamlin's dad. So like you probably feel the same way.
It's not. I would say this. The safety position has numbers. I don't think it's very proven. Taylor Rapp is semi-proven. All right, I'll give him. He's an adequate starter. I think he's an adequate starter, flawed but an adequate starter. Cole Bishop should be starting next to him. But yeah, you got Damar Hamlin. You got Derek Forrest. You got the rookie, the 5th-round rookie, Jordan Hancock from Ohio State, who's kind of like a utility guy, but it kind of feels like he's going to become a safety. I would say an interesting battle might be Hamlin versus Derek Forrest. Like one of those guys might not make this roster. That could happen. Yeah, but look, there's just no room for Poyer. I don't think. He's washed up, man. I love Jordan Poyer. I've been a big fan of him for a long, long time. And his last year with the Bills in 2023, he was not very good. You could just see the signs of him mother time or father time catching up to him. And like I said, with Miami, he was horrible. He was horrible with the Dolphins. But before we move on, I do want to kind of get back to what he said. Are you a little bit surprised when it comes to the Dolphins? I think he's calling out the culture and the stuff like that. What we all suspected, that they're a front-running team that plays good against bad teams in warm weather, and as the season gets later against good teams, the weather gets colder, and you got to be tough. That team just folds like a tent. And I kind of feel like without him specifically saying that, Poyer was kind of calling it out. Like, I'd bet you anything, if you got an off-the-record chat with Jordan Poyer and asked him about Miami, he'd be saying they're soft bitches. They're soft as hell. It's a soft, weak football team with a weak-minded, I said it last week, an artsy-fartsy offensive coordinator, preppy dude. He's not a leader of men. It's just a very soft football team. And I think Jordan Poyer more or less was calling that out. Do you agree with that?
I could say that. I could see that. Yeah. His wife bitching about them too online.
Yeah,
I
yep.
think like
The culture. She was talking about the culture. And
yeah.
again, being around
So
Buffalo
I
from
mean,
2017 until last year and being around Miami, I do think there's different cultures with those football programs for sure.
well, losing makes it bad, So yeah, I guess sure. I mean, they weren't very good last year. I mean, they were okay. I don't know. I still wonder if Tua was healthy. Like, look, they finished the game out of making the playoffs. I think if Tua was healthy, they would have made the playoffs. I really do. I don't like. What do you mean? They would have. They were hard, dude. When he was out, their offense was just
They weren't better than Denver. They weren't.
Doesn't matter that you were one game behind them. That's the bottom line.
Well, so what? It's still one game. Denver.
Okay, fine. Okay, but I'm just hey, look, the Bills almost lost to them. Okay, so you can shit on them all you want. They almost lost to them in Buffalo, and if it wasn't for your boy Poyer, yeah. I'm just saying, like, I know, don't get too cocky. I'm not saying they're gonna give the Bills for a run for their money, but they're not dog shit. So, anyways,
let's change topics here. I want to. We did this last year. The Bills' schedule is now out, of course. We always knew who they were playing on the road, but we didn't know when, and that could be a factor. Let's do our annual ranking the Buffalo Bills road trip destinations, and we're going to go from least. Well, annual because it's been twice now. That's kind of what annual is, I think, at this point, isn't it? Sort of.
Yeah, well, twice. I mean, I don't. Yeah, sure.
Start of a tradition. Anyway, sure. I want you to rank, and then I'm going to throw out mine. But you could go first. We're going to rank these from least desirable to most desirable, ease of travel, opponent, the city itself, the time of year. If you want to factor in costs, all that stuff could be a factor any way you want to do it. No international games, no West Coast games. So, there's no crazy costs of traveling compared to what it could have been and what it's been in previous years. So what do you got?
All right, so you want me just to rank them in terms of like number one, I would say going or do you want me to?
I want you to go from the shittiest up to the best.
The shittiest up to
8 of them.
Okay, I would say the shittiest would be, and you can tell I did a lot of research on this because I suck and I just got home late. I would say Cleveland would be the shittiest. Like, you're going to Cleveland, it's kind of like. First off, you have bad fans. Like, Cleveland fans are assholes, and then you got to probably have to deal with those fans. Like, that's, in there throwing dog biscuits. I don't know if they still do that. I do like Cleveland as a city. I've been there. They got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, got some good beers down there. I dig it. The one thing that could work for you though is, and this is going on StubHub, get in as right now is $91, which is the cheapest ticket out there. And that to me could even get lower and lower if you wait till the season goes on, because you and I both know we don't like Cleveland's not going to be very good this year. So I think that ticket's going to go down even more.
Okay.
All right. And then the next one I'm going to go with is going to be, I have to go with Jersey. Even though it's my backyard, playing the Jets, like, you're in Jersey, it's kind of a pain in the ass to get there because then you have to get a hotel close there. It is a cheap ticket, in comparison. It's $138 right now. is what the going rate is
How
for it.
close are you from the stadium? Like, do you have to get if you and I were gonna go to the Bills at
Oh,
Jets
God help
game this
us
year,
if you and I
do
went. We should
do
do a
you
live podcast if we went.
how far are you from there? Like, would you need to get a hotel or is it like drivable back?
No. What you and I would do is we would take the subway. Like you and I we would take the subway. You take the subway to MSG. You take Amtrak. It's like 3 connections. You take Amtrak to I
Mhm.
think Secaucus. You get off at Secaucus. You take a shuttle train to MetLife. So it's if you connect and you get all your trains in a row and you don't mess up, like there's no delays and you get everything, it will probably take you door to door 90 minutes. It would
Okay.
take you that. So I would take it's cheaper. You and I can get wasted on the subway. We can brown bag it and come back. But like the thing is like, it's not a great tailgate area. Like it's one of the worst stadiums. Like it's just kind of weird.
Okay.
It just
Well,
I'm not a
I'd understand why it would be low, especially on your list living near there. All right, so that's second from the
yeah.
bottom.
I would say the next one that's there, even though I love Podfather because he lives out there, I'm gonna go with the Carolina Panthers. That's even though it's kind of first off, it's expensive, and I don't really get why because the Panthers are kind of bad. It's $200 to get in. That's the get in price right as of right now. Could it go down? Sure. It's gonna be late. It's gonna be in late October. I know Carolina does feel like one of the more popular expat places to go to.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of expats there. The Podfathers out there. My one friend is going out there, I guess. I just don't know what you would do in Charlotte. Like, what's there in Charlotte? Like, I drove through Charlotte once. I know it's a big city, but it's just like,
It's
what?
nice. I've spent one night. I've only spent one night there. I used to drive when I used to go back and forth. If we went that way to Florida, from Buffalo to Florida, you drive through Charlotte, so you could, find some stuff. We went had some barbecue there before my wife and I. I believe we stayed there overnight once.
Okay.
Better weather, but anyway, I get it. All right, go ahead. So Carolina's
Yeah,
there.
Carolina's just I just don't. It doesn't do it for me. Next, I would say would be New England. It's December 14th.
Mhm.
I love New England area. We're going there, and that's next week. I'm not on the podcast because we're going to New England to go, to children's museums and all that shit. While I brown
Shit, I
bag it.
forgot about that. All
Yeah,
right.
sorry, I'm off next week, buddy. I'm off. Go get Tooch
Well,
on the show.
Buffalo's not off. Joe from Queens is off.
I'm off. Go get Tooch to come on. But it's right now it's $120 to get in. That could go lower if the Patriots are bad, but you and I both have been on the Patriots. I think might be a wild card contender. But yeah, that's I like New England area. It will be cold there, so if you're a little bit on the weather side, it's some what's it like 8-7 hour drive I think to get to New England. I mean, you could do a quick flight in there, and you're close to Boston. Their fans are dicks too, so you have to hear that the bullshit about like their 17 titles and all that crap. So I got them there. So that's where I'm at next.
Okay.
The next one, this could be a fun game. Maybe not. Pittsburgh. It's November 30th. It's a close. I'm a big guy. Look, if I'm going on a road game and you don't want to spend too much money, Pittsburgh's perfect. It's like 3 hours away. They got some good food there. It's a beautiful city. The tickets are expensive. It's $200 to get in for like the cheapest seats. That will probably go up, I would say. Like they've always been pretty popular. So, but like for me, the distance it works because then you can just go there and you're 3 hours in. You can spend more money on a ticket if you want to.
Okay.
And then after that, I'm gonna go with.
We've been through 5 so far: Cleveland,
5.
New York, New England, Charlotte, and Pitt. So you
Yeah.
got 3 more left.
Yeah, I would say the next one is Houston.
Okay.
My thing about Houston is, again, it's they played there last year, so you might be like, maybe some people have already been down there, etc. The get-in price is $192. You get, the weather will be nice. It's November 20th, so that's obviously good. It should be a good game. Stroud versus Allen. I don't, it's funny. Like last year, I was on the Houston bandwagon at this time. This year, I'm totally not. Like they have a good defense, but he's throwing it to Nico Collins, and that feels like that's it. I know they drafted the guy, but But then you have like Houston, you have like Texas barbecue, things like that. And that's kind of where I'm at a little bit on that. Then the next one I have is, and I like the city. I went there last year for a wedding. I like Atlanta, and I think Atlanta would be fun. You do a Monday night game. It's Columbus Day weekend. So
Mhm.
that's a long weekend you can do where you get there and then you fly out the next morning and get the hell out of there. They have the dome. I think it could be a sneaky good game. Price is $165 to get in as of right now. But like Atlanta, again, another expat area that I feel like it has definitely, stuff to do. Like, it's got Buffalo connections. Food's good. They have an awesome aquarium down there for if you want to do something with the family. I mean, I don't know if you bring your family down there, but their aquarium's second to none. But it's good stuff there. And then I think the last one I have here, and look, this is kind of an oldie but goodie, the Miami game. I mean, that's kind of the
Mm.
tradition that never dies, and look, I went there. I'm a little bit too old for it, but if I was younger Joe in my 20s, early 30s, I would
What are
definitely
you
do it.
talking about? I'm way older than you, and I go party my face off in Miami.
Yeah, what? But you love socializing and all that shit. I don't know. It's but right now getting in is 134 as of
Mhm.
right now. So that's November 9th. The weather it won't be sweating your balls off to the wall because it's going to be in November there. So it'll be nice down there.
Sure.
So that's kind of how I have it ranked for the most part. I feel like
I
I'm missing a game, but I don't think I am. So
No,
if
you're
I
not. You did all 8. So from
okay,
worst to first, you went Cleveland, New York Jets, Foxborough, Charlotte, Pittsburgh, Houston, Atlanta, and Miami. Let me throw up mine, and I'm gonna fly through these here.
sure,
Um, we're not all that far off on a lot of ours. At the bottom, I got New England actually dead last. Even though I've never been to Boston, and I would love to, but the date matters to me. December 14th, man, you're talking, it's 11 days before Christmas. So much shit will be going on at that point. It's probably going to be freezing cold in New England. That might actually be a good football game, though, late in the season, because I do think the Patriots are going to be pretty good. So I have them last. Number 7, I got Cleveland. The only reason why I don't have them last is, again, for the same reason about with
weather.
New England. It's close to Christmas, but it's literally 4 days before Christmas. What I like about Cleveland, though, it's a 3.5-hour drive. So you could go if you want to go to the Sunday 1 o'clock game. You don't want to, have to stay at a hotel. I would never do that. I would never go drive 3-4 hours to a game and come back the same day. But if you wanted to, you could.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have them 7 and not 8 for that reason. Number 6, Pittsburgh. Normally this would maybe be a little bit higher, but November 30th. It's right after the couple days after Thanksgiving. Again, kind of cold. Don't really. It's not at this point, by the way, 8 and 7, I have no interest in. Pittsburgh, I wouldn't mind. At this point, none of these I hate, but you got to rank them somewhere. So I got Pittsburgh number 6. Number 5, I got Houston all the way. But it's November 20th. It's a Thursday night game. That's what I don't love. What I do love about that, though, is if you got the money and you could afford it, you go to the game Thursday and you could stay and party it up in Houston and Friday and Saturday, maybe come home Sunday, something along those lines. I think Ralph brought it up in the chat, but I don't think there's direct flights from Buffalo to Houston on any airline. I think you got to fly maybe to Dallas. I could be wrong on that. But anyway, regardless, I got Houston 5. New York, I actually got high at number 4.
Yeah, you like it up here.
I don't live there like you do. What I like about it too is it's September 14th. So if you wanted to kind of make a trip beyond football, you could be up around 9/11, and there's always remembrances and things going around. I would probably want to do some 9/11 involved stuff. I don't even know at this point, you know better than me, if they still have things going on each year on September 11th down there. But I feel like
yeah, I'm not, that's not my scene, but
no.
yeah, they do. It's not
All
my
right.
scene.
Well, so I would have them 4 because, and also the weather, still going to be nice weather in September to go to New York City. So I got them at 4. Number 3 is Miami. I normally would have them much lower on my list because I've been there many times. I've been to Miami a lot, but the fact that it's November 9th, the weather should be way, way more manageable. It's not as humid in Florida at the end of October and early November as opposed to September and early October. So that would be 3. Number 2, Carolina. I mean, you kind of talked about it. I don't know. I'll go stay at Joe Marino's house so I won't have to pay for a hotel. I don't know if you
Is
know
he
the
really gonna
guy.
have you stay at your hotel at your? Well,
Did
he's
you I
not.
tweeted out something about Bill's Mafia. Joe's gonna open up his house to like 30,000 people or something like that. It's got a good kick
Yeah,
out
I
of it.
don't
But
know.
yeah,
I don't have this Carolina like you and I don't really see eye to eye on the Carolina. It feels like maybe I don't know. Like
well,
I don't know
you're
how.
not wrong. It's also the one thing I don't think you factored in that at least I do, because maybe weather don't bother you the way it bothers me. But
Yeah,
when
you're
it gets to
definitely
be
on the
like this
weather.
top 3, when it gets to be late October or no beyond that in Buffalo, if I could afford to get away and go
Sure.
somewhere warmer for 3 days, 2 to 3 days, I'll jump on that. So that's one of the reasons why I would have Charlotte ranked as high. And then number 1 is Atlanta. October 13th, that would be a pretty sweet, anniversary. That's my anniversary, by the way. So it'd be pretty
Oh,
cool. Go to Atlanta again,
sorry to your
October.
wife.
It's gonna be nice weather. And plus, I'm gonna tell you right now, I think Atlanta, when you look at the Bills' schedule, I think Atlanta's the team that a lot of people are kind of sleeping on, man. Like I expect the Atlanta Falcons to be good.
Hmm.
So I think that would be an entertaining game to go watch. So
Yeah.
that would be my pick there. I'm trying to check in real time here with trying to get a Bandits update right now. Nothing yet. As soon as it comes across the screen, although people listening to this are the game will be over already by that point. All right, so we covered that. We did the road trips. Let's do did you bother to do a Mount Flushmore?
I did. Sorry,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
You know what? I did. That was the one thing I worked on while I was at the freaking zoo today. I forgot about that. You were. I knew we were going to talk about vacations, and I
When you say
just
the zoo, you say the Bronx Zoo, right? Is
the
that what you
Bronx Zoo.
mean?
Well,
The
yeah, the
Bronx Zoo?
Bronx Zoo. It's huge. It's
Is the Bronx
beautiful.
is real quick here, just briefly.
Sure.
Is the Bronx Zoo as big and beautiful as it's talked about? Like some things are talked about, you put it on a pedestal, and then when you go there, it's like, oh, it's kind of overrated. Like, is the Bronx Zoo as good as advertised?
Yes, it's awesome. I mean, it's the thing about New York is we have like 4 zoos here. We have a Queens Zoo that's like 10 minutes away from us. That's smaller. Then we have a Brooklyn Zoo. Then we have Central Park Zoo, and then we have the Bronx Zoo. The Bronx Zoo is like the mecca. It's I think the second biggest zoo in the country. I think San Diego has the biggest zoo, but it's huge. Like you can't even get through the whole thing in a day.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
oh yeah, it's huge. Like yeah, I- it's great for kids. Like I love walking around. It's got great beer too. The food actually is pretty good there, which is kind of remarkable. Uh, it is expensive though. Like if you, I think it's like $40 or something like that. We have a pass.
Mm.
Yeah, so we go as many times like I have to get the hell out of this house with the kid. I'm like, here, go get eaten by a bear and run around.
That's
But
cool.
it's a lot of but it's definitely if you like going to zoos, like you gotta go to that. It's pretty rad, and we've enjoyed it, and I put it over immensely. So
Shout out to Mark in the live chat. It says, "Hey Pat and Joe, just want to say hi from a Pearl Jam concert right now. Catch you guys next week,
Pearl
boys. Well, it'll
Jam.
be 2 weeks when you catch me and Joe together because Joe won't be here. He's bailing on us next week. Anyway, all right, let's get to your Mount Flushmore for this week. What do you got?
Well, I
Let's just
decided,
talk about the category as well.
yeah, the category, so next week's going to be Memorial Day, which I always get it mixed up with Labor Day. I don't know why, but I decided to do like the Mount Flushmore for generals or movie characters in the army, and like the worst ones who were terrible, and some of them might be heroes to you, but to me they were kind of terrible. So first one I got, and it was a movie, Cobra Commander. Like Cobra Commander sucked. Like GI Joe, like he was the worst. Like he had all these
Mm.
weapons and everything, and he couldn't do anything. And he couldn't be GI Joe ever. Like 100 episodes and 100, and they had even a couple movies. Cobra Commander sucks. Like couldn't do anything. Get bent. The next one, you're not gonna. When I say this name, you're gonna be like who? But then when I tell you the movie, you're like, oh, I know that idiot. Valverda, that was the character's name. He was in Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He kidnapped Arnold's daughter, brought her to like a desert island for no reason. I don't even know. Oh, because he wanted them to like kill the president or something. And he had an island like where he was in charge of with like 200 soldiers. And then that one weird guy, Bennett, I think was his name. And Arnold just destroyed everyone. Nothing. I don't even think Arnold like got a scratch. Worst general of all time. So like screw that guy. He should get bench. This is going to be controversial, but you know what? I don't care. Lieutenant Dan.
What?
Dude, yes, dude fucking brings his entire platoon in. They all get whacked. Bubba Gump, who I thought was like the best character next to Forrest in that movie. Like Bubba was hilarious. Gets shrimp named after him or a freaking franchise for food. And like he leads them into an ambush. Everyone almost dies, and Forrest has to bail everyone out. Then he becomes a dick, and then like he's like buying prostitutes and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, he got angry and he found his legs, but he was a shitty general, terrible. Even he knew he was bad. He was pissed off because he wanted to die. That's how bad Lieutenant Dan was, So like he was he was bad. And then the other one, and I forgot his name because I was doing this while in the car ride home because I dedicated so much time to this project. The freaking guy for Sean Penn from Casualties of War. Do you remember that movie?
Vaguely.
Okay.
I'm not a bit. Let me put this out there too. I'm not a big war movie guy. I'm just not. It's always kind of, I don't want to say freak me out. You know how some people watch like horror movies and that's what gives them nightmares? War movies when I grew up used to give me nightmares. You know what I mean? Like when I was young, they just scared the hell out of me, man. But anyway.
I mean, I liked war movies. Like I liked things getting blown up and things like that. Like when I was a kid, like, I don't really, I can't remember the last time I watched one. But anyway, so Casualties of War, Michael J. Fox was in it. And it came out like around 89. And Sean Penn was like the leader of the platoon. He like raped a girl and then like in Vietnam and brought her like everywhere, and they basically all gangbanged her. And Michael J. Fox was like, "You can't do this. You can't do this." He was good in that movie as an actor, but he was a terrible general. Like he raped people, and like then he got his comeuppance at the end. But yeah, he fucking sucked too. So anyway, if anyone has any other people I've missed that were just terrible sergeants in cartoons or anything like that. I don't know. I know it's a controversial. I have Lieutenant Dan. I know everyone loved him and he has his magic legs. But come on, man.
The only one that I really know well from those movies. Like I said, the other ones.
You don't know Cobra Commander? You didn't watch G.I. Joe as a kid?
Didn't we talked about this a couple of weeks ago? I never was a big Arnold Schwarzenegger guy, man.
No, Cobra Commander from G.I. Joe. I'm talking about him.
G.I. Joe guy either. Not a military movie guy, man. Just not me.
It's a cartoon. What, did you watch cartoons in the 60s when you were a kid?
Come on, man. Not the 60s.
Okay. Did you watch cartoons? Didn't you have like 3 cartoons you watched?
I wasn't. You know what? I did watch some cartoons, but I wasn't a big cartoon guy. Like I didn't. Like a lot of kids on Saturday mornings, they grew up, they lived for Saturday mornings watching cartoons. I lived for Saturday mornings to watch wrestling. I was never really into cartoons. I like Tom and Jerry. That was one I watched all the time.
That's a good one. Yeah, me too.
Magilla Gorilla was one that I liked to watch a lot.
Who?
Little kid, Magilla Gorilla.
I don't know what 50s cartoon that is.
A little bit before your time. All right, so we switch it up this week. You did the Mount Flushmore. Usually I do that, and then usually you quiz me a little bit with a true and false segment. So
I'm excited about this.
We're flipping the script, and by the way, just like when you don't tell me these ahead of time, I have not told you. So you're hearing these for the first time, just like everybody who's listening to the show right now. True or false? James Cook will be at Bill's camp within the first 3 days of camp. So either he's not holding out or he will be in camp within the first 3 days. True or false, James Cook?
Are we talking OTAs or are we talking like August?
We're talking about training camp in late July in Rochester.
Okay,
he will be at camp on the field, either at start of camp or no later than the first 3 days. True or false?
He will be there. He will be there. True.
Okay, so you're saying no holdout for James Cook.
No. What about you?
I agree with you. I say true. Maybe he misses the first day to make some kind of statement, and he's there day 2. That's why I limited it to potentially 3 days.
And everyone in the comments, make sure you say true or false, in the comments if you agree with
sure. If you're watching on the video side, for sure. I'm not going to be able to get to all these. Like I said, this thing just loads differently. It's going to take a couple weeks to get used to this new platform that we're using. But anyway, yeah. All right, so we both agree James Cook, true. True or false? Jordan Poyer deserves to be on the Bills Wall of Fame. And so we're clear here. We're not debating who should be before him. We're not going to say, well, Eric Moulds or Reuben Brown or these other guys who are Kyle Williams. I'm not asking you that. I'm not asking where he ranks. I'm asking you, true or false, Jordan Poyer deserves to be on the Bills Wall of Fame. Either he deserves it or he doesn't.
True. Definitely deserves it. I mean, look, I've told you this before. Phil Hansen's on the Wall of Fame, and you could basically bring me Travis Henry, and I'll listen to that because he shouldn't be on the Hall of Fame. But if Phil Hansen even wasn't on the Hall of Fame or Wall of Fame, excuse me, yeah, Poyer should definitely be on it. You know, he did his time. He was a great safety. God, there's gonna be like, and I'll say this real quick before I go on a tangent. I've heard that they're not going to do a Wall of Fame at the new stadium. I think that's fucking bollocks. That is bullshit. Okay, I like the Wall of Fame. I love between like breaks of the action and like change of possession. I get to look around the stadium, and I do that. I would look and go, "Oh, Ken Hall," like, "Oh, you know, Joe DeLamielleure, Fred Smirlis." Like, you could kind of like remember things while you're sitting there, fucking eating popcorn. And I don't know what they're doing if they're bringing that in. I heard they might not because maybe they want to put advertisings or a banner for Terry Pagula. Who the hell knows? But that's bullshit. I want the Wall of Fame, and I'm going to be a little bit annoyed at the new stadium if they don't have a Wall of Fame. That's bullshit. Have a Wall of Fame.
Quick little detour. The Bandits are now down 11-9, just like 3 minutes left in the fourth. So it looks like we could be headed to game 3. Game 3 will be in Buffalo next Sunday if that happens. If you're a hockey fan and you take a lot of pride in the Maple Leafs falling apart in the playoffs, it's happening again, folks. They are down 5-1 in game 7 to Florida. So the Leafs are about to be eliminated in the second round this year from the playoffs. All right, let's continue here. I got 3 more for you. The Sabres will end their playoff drought before the New York Jets end their playoff drought. They're both tied right now for the longest drought in professional sports. And I'm saying true or false, the Sabres will end their playoff drought before the New York Jets.
I'm going to say true. The Jets, they're both disasters. But the Bills have been close. Excuse me, the Bills. The Sabres have been closer. I know it sounds crazy, at making the playoffs than the Jets have, in my opinion. And I think the Jets are going through another rebuild. So it's going to be a couple of years at least if they have any sort of inkling. And I just think it's easier. It should be easier to make the playoffs in hockey. So I'm going to say the Sabres. True. I will say that. True. The Sabres will make the playoffs before the Jets.
Okay, I'll say this. I almost feel like I could flip a coin. I don't think there's any chance the Jets, you never say never, but the Jets ain't making the playoffs this year. So then the advantage goes to Buffalo having the opportunity, but I don't think the Sabres are a playoff team either, but I do think the Sabres might be closer to being a playoff team, to your point, than the Sabres. The two most absolutely, utterly disgraceful organizations in sports, though, they really are. The Jets are pathetic, and the Sabres, I could go on an entire rant. I'm not going to do that today, but they're just as bad. But anyway, yeah, I think I would lean, not with a lot of confidence, but I think I would say true. As Vince on the video side just said, the Jets are never making the playoffs again. Never. Yeah, it don't seem like, well, a new coach. They're tearing it down. I think they're going to start over, but they ain't doing it this year. All right, I got 2 more for you. One of them, especially this one, admittedly kind of self-indulgent. A lot of people probably have not watched one or neither of these shows. So we'll see. But true or false, Severance is a better TV series than Succession.
That's tough because one's done, one isn't. It's still in the process. I'm going to say true. That Succession, that Severance is better than Succession, which I'm sure you love that because you hated it.
That's easy true for me.
Yeah, you hate watched Succession. I can't believe how much you hate watched it. You were like, every week I'm gonna watch this and be angry about it. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go with Severance is just crazy, like twists and turns. I'm a big like sci-fi fan. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Severance.
For me, it's true, and I'll say this, and I do understand the design of Succession was for everyone to be so awful that you don't root for anybody.
Sure,
I get that. I understand that. Okay, Severance not the same. Like you root for certain characters in Severance. I need to be able to root for somebody. I don't want a show design where I just hate everybody all the time. And my biggest beef with Succession, especially compared to Severance, is that it just took forever for anything to actually happen in Succession, where that's certainly not the case with Severance. I do want to pull up a comment in case you're late. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this late, or if you're listening to this late in the show today, Maz Viz says, look like Pat got rid of StreamYard. Yes, I did. You can see a little bit of differences just in the graphics. We're using this platform. It's called EV Mux now, and I really like it a lot. There's a lot of animated things. There's a lot of stuff that I got to learn how to do, and we will over the next few weeks. I screwed up something though beforehand. My mic is cutting out. I could hear it if I get away from it. That's why I'm sitting on top of it. But that's not the platform's fault. That's my fault with this stupid noise gate thing that I have. So I might be cutting
Stupid
out.
Pat.
Yeah, stupid Pat. All right. So anyway, I got one more true and false, and we're gonna wrap this up and get out. A wrestling one. Here we go. True or false? CM Punk will be the one to end John Cena's title run.
False.
False.
I think yes. I think it's going to be Cody Rhodes. I think Cena's going to carry it all the way until like the end, and then he's going to lose it to Cody. He's going to lose it back to Cody. That's what I think will happen.
I could see that too. When do you think that's going to be?
I think it's going to be
name a pay-per-view where you could see that happening. And I agree with you. I say it's false because I do think it's going to be Cody Rhodes as well. But like, when do you see that happening?
I think December. I think it's going to like be Yeah, I think that what they're going to do is they're going to be like, he's retiring. He's going to take the belt and go to Hollywood and bronze it and put it on The Rock's mantle or whatever, and that's it. I think it's going to be that long, and I think he's going to win it back, and that's going to be his last match. It's going to be him, or close to it. Like I think it's going to be that long. I do know. I think I read like his last match is going to be in Boston, his hometown. So, I don't know if they're teasing. Like, look, the heel turn's been weird. I've kind of talked. Like, I've enjoyed the promos, but it does feel a little bit. I don't know, like I don't know what he's doing. Like, they showed like a clip of him like looking concerned before, like after his match with Orton. Like, he kind of can't believe. Like, I feel like did you ever watch Peacemaker on HBO?
No.
You should watch it. It's like really good. He's in it. He's awesome. Like, he's an anti-hero. I think you would like it because I don't know how much you like John Cena, but I think he's great in it. But basically, he's kind of a remorseful character who tries to be a good guy, but he's really kind of a bad guy, and he's going through. And I think that's what he's kind of trying to do, where he's just, why am I doing this kind of thing? And they show that's the last pay-per-view with Orton, and him kind of looking down at the belt, like in a very like, how could I do this kind of way? And I feel like they're gonna do that where I could see him losing, and maybe something happens where like The Rock gets involved and like scolds him for losing, and then tries to beat him up, and then like Cody stops it, and then maybe they do like a match where it's like a tag team match. I don't know what the fuck The Rock's doing. He's a weirdo.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on The Rock for anything at all. Yeah. I will say though that I agree with you about Cody. I just think it's going to happen a little before that. I think it could happen because I think you got to give John Cena a little bit of time to have a redemption kind of arc, minor babyface run. I'll ask you this then, okay? You just mentioned Boston, his last match. He just wrestled Randy. He's clearly going to wrestle CM Punk at some point. Let's assume we're both right and Cody Rhodes is the one who takes that title from him. Who's John Cena's last match ever going to be against? What's your prediction?
I could see it being I could see it being Cody, and I could see it like he's gonna hold that belt until the end, and then he's gonna lose it because the whole it's gonna be like the CM Punk, like I'm leaving this title, I'm taking this title to Hollywood and I'm retiring it, and I think that's gonna be his last match. Maybe I could see that being him versus Cody, like a rematch. That's it. Like, I definitely feel like we're gonna do. I think Punk is gonna do Cena at SummerSlam. That I think is gonna be the main event.
Yeah,
so,
I can see that too.
Yeah,
Maz is lame. Come on, or he said Cody's lame. My bad, Maz. He said Cody is lame. I agree. I can't. I'm not a big.
You hate the Cody crybaby.
Yeah, you're a Cody crybaby.
Yeah, I am. I like Cody. He's a good guy.
By the way, so Toronto did lose, and like literally, in a matter of seconds, it's already they're already happy leaves elimination day. It's just it never ends there with with Toronto. So good for them. It
That's
looks like the Bandits are going to lose, so it does look like there's going to be a third and
I
the
don't give a
sixth.
shit about hockey that much, but that Final Four sounds terrible. Like you got Dallas and the Hurricanes and who else is the fucking other like a bunch of rednecks. The Panthers, right? They're in it, I think. I don't even
Mhm.
know. It sounds terrible. I kind of wanted to see a Winnipeg. Like look, I like Canada. They're very nice people, and I feel bad that there's gonna be no Canadian representation again in the Final
That seems to be
Four.
the case every year now, man.
Oh wait, is
Oh,
Edmonton? No,
Edmonton.
Edmonton. Edmonton
Edmonton,
is.
maybe.
I'm
That's
rooting
right.
for Edmonton. My bad, but like Edmonton's cool. I hope they win it all. No one wants to see the Panthers or Dallas or fucking your boy, Podfather Marino's Carolina Hurricanes. I have no idea if that's his team, but anyone in Carolina's
He doesn't know he
Podfathers.
doesn't he doesn't know anything about hockey and is
Oh,
kinda
Pod.
actually makes fun of himself
Is
for
he
that.
is Podfather Marino from Buffalo originally?
Yes, I believe
Okay,
so. I
believe
believe
so.
so. I believe he's from Buffalo. He's been in Charlotte for a long time.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
and that's
hot take alarm. That's the wrap
that's
it
the
up,
that's the we gotta get out of here. We got
that's
some
the wrap
fires
it up
around here.
alarm. Yeah, I am gonna get out of here. Like I said, give me a couple weeks. If you're watching this on the video side, audio side, you're like, what the hell are you even talking about? Video side, kind of getting used to things. When things ain't cut out, I'm telling you, this platform is gonna be dope, man. So I'm excited about that. I got to make a change, something audio for next week. But aside from that, I do thank you everybody who's watched this live. Everybody's gonna listen to this sometime Monday. Nice solid crowd here for a Sunday night taping. Thank you, Joe from Queens. Where you going next week anyway?
Oh my God, we're
Am I
going.
being nosy? Am I being
No,
nosy
no,
out
you
there?
can. We're going everywhere. We're leaving Thursday for Mystic, Connecticut. Then we're gonna go to New Hampshire. Then we're gonna go to Portland, Maine, and then we're gonna go to what the hell? Not Providence, Rhode Island. Oh no, yeah, Providence, Rhode Island. Then back here. So we're going Thursday to Tuesday. So that's why there's no effing way I'm doing anything with you. Sorry.
All
My
right,
wife's already kind of like she kind of gave me the like you're gonna do a podcast with him, and it was definitely one of those don't even think about it kind of things. Like it's family, it's
fair
family
enough,
time.
man.
Yeah, unlike you, where your wife probably can't wait till you get the hell out. She's freaking
Oh,
going through her.
you're
She's
not
going through
wrong.
her black book right now. Like who can I call? No, I'm just kidding. But
No, you're not
like
wrong, man. But you'll be
but yeah,
traveling next week. I'll be drinking next weekend, and
yeah, I'll miss it. I mean, and you don't need me on Sunday night. Like, it's Memorial Day and Monday. Who's gonna listen to a podcast? Like, you should. Why
what
don't you take
kind
a?
of promotion is that for a show? You're pretty much just told everybody don't bother listening next week.
I'm just saying you should take. Why don't you take like 4 days off and like take a break
Who?
and come back? You could take a
I
day
don't.
off.
I'm like, remember what was it? Darren Young in WWE He was Mr. No Days Off.
Darren Young, was he no days off? I don't remember that, but I do remember
Oh,
Darren Young.
well, that's me. I ain't taking no damn days off.
Oh my God, you look at you. You're just obsessed. My God, just don't you.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for the show. Seriously, thank you everybody for listening. Be back start of the new week, brand new show coming up tomorrow. Talk to you guys later.